Hi Simply Notable Knitters, welcome to the CIRC sock class. These are the socks that we're going to knit in this class. The pattern for them is in the first section of your lessons called CIRC socks. The sock has a ribbed cuff and an afterthought heel, a wedge toe. Now we're going to use that two-circular method, which is why they're called CIRC socks. I love this method for several reasons. I feel like it's not only an easier way to knit socks, it also makes it easy to try on your socks as you knit them. It's without, stitches falling off the needles. It gives you a lot better tension and less problems with ladders at the edge of needles like happens with double point needles, because you really only have two edges for one thing, and as long as you're pulling the very first stitch on each needle snug as you knit, you just really don't have that issue. Now if you've taken already the 5-day challenge to learn how to knit with two circular needles, then you've knit this simple coffee cozy and you've gotten some practice knitting with two circulars. If you haven't done this before, really feel free to go ahead and take that class. It is on our dashboard and it is a free class. It gives you a little practice and it's fun. You'll have a little coffee cozy when you're done. So if you've taken the free challenge, then what you've done there is really similar to what you're going to be doing in this class. You start with the cuff, you knit the body, and then you're going to, instead of knitting another cuff, you're just going to decrease down for the toe. You're also going to put in a marker for where you're going to knit the heel, and then we add an afterthought heel after the fact. And we'll go through it all together step by step. But just so you know, it's not a lot different than what you've been doing. And you do have a lot of relaxing, easy knitting just with the cuff and all that long area of the tube of the sock before you add the heel. Now when you go to select yarns for socks, wool is really a great option. It has a lot of elasticity so that it bounces back. It has a lot of breathability, and it absorbs moisture really well to keep your feet dry. When you select a yarn, you want to make sure that it's tightly plied, and then we're going to knit it at into a fairly dense fabric. In other words, we're going to use smaller needle than you would normally use with the worsted weight yarn in order to get a dense, strong fabric, and that wears the best. Also, if you happen to find a worsted weight yarn that has added nylon, that really does help with wearability as well. Socks, they get a rough rap because you're walking on them. And if you wear them with shoes, the back of the heel tends to get rubbed against the shoes, and that's an area of wear as well. But they're just so fun to knit, and they are also just the coziest things in the world. Once you have knit somebody a pair of hand knit socks, they'll never leave you alone. You'll be knitting them for them for time eternity. As far as the gauge for socks, fingering should be knit at about 8 to 10 stitches per inch. Sport, 7 to 8 stitches per inch, and then DK to worsted is 6 to 7 stitches per inch. We're going to be knitting at 6 stitches per inch for our socks, and we'll get into how to knit a gauge swatch and make sure that you are knitting to 6 stitches per inch. So let's get started. Let's knit some socks.